Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Talking Ball podcast. I'm your host, Chase. Here on episode 9, we're going to be talking about some conference finals, wrapping up the conference finals. We have our finals matchup. So we're going to talk about the rest of the conference finals. Week 3 of NFL football we're going to talk about that. We have a little bit of news at the end, along with some more college football, but it might be a little bit shorter this week, and we might have to improvise a little bit. Well, we'll figure it out. Let's start with some NBA. Conference finals are all wrapping up. We're going to go through the games we missed from the Lakers-Nuggets series and then the Heat-Celtics series, and then we'll talk a little bit about the finals. Excuse me. So first is Lakers Nuggets. This series could have been interesting. Wasn't. So game 3, we left off game 2. When the series was 2-0 Lakers. The Nuggets actually won game 3. 106 to 114. Both teams shot very well. Lakers shot 52% from the field, and the Nuggets shot 55%. Although the Lakers shot 23% from the 3, and the Nuggets shot 38% from 3. The Nuggets out rebounded them by a lot, and turned the ball over more, but came away with the win by 8 points. Anthony Davis had 27 points and a very disappointing 2 rebounds. Shot 9 for 17, didn't hit a 3, and 9 for 10 on the free throws. LeBron had a 30-point triple-double, 30 points, 11 assists, 10 rebounds. Great game for him. He shot well, 14 for 23, and he hit 1 out of 4 threes. So LeBron, not the shooter. The Nuggets, Jamal Murray scored 28 points, 12 assists, shot well, 50% from 3. Jokic shot 22 points, 10 rebounds, 9 for 14. And Jeremy Grant had 26 points, shooting 7 for 11 and 10 for 12 on the free throw line. Game 4, the Lakers led 2-1 after they lost that one. Game 4, they won. The Lakers won by 6, 114 to 108. Struggle for the Nuggets. They shot better in both the field and the three-pointer. Other than that, they didn't do anything else. They got out-rebounded, out-assisted, They had less steals, and they had the same amount of turnovers. It was it was AD this one, 34 points and only 5 rebounds. So not getting his average, 10, 12, 14 rebounds. He's getting 5 and 2 in the last one. He shot 10 for 15, 13 for 14 from the free throw line. That was a huge complaint from Mike Malone, was that the Lakers are getting a lot of trips to the free throw line, which is true. Obviously, we have AD shooting 14 free throws, and LeBron, who had 26 points, also shot 14 free throws. So between them two, they shot 28 free throws. That could have possibly been more than the entire Nuggets team. Let me go see the comparisons here. This was game 4. On Tuesday? Oh, that was game 3. It's on Thursday. Let's see. Team by team. The Lakers shot 35 free throws, and the Nuggets shot 23. So the Lakers shot 12 more free throws, but I would find it very aggravating if I was the Nuggets coach, seeing LeBron and AD both shoot 14 free throws each, and then Murray only shoots 8 and Jokic only shot 3. So you know, I don't know. Refs were not very kind to the Nuggets in this series. With that, LeBron having 26 and 9, did shoot 11 for 14 free throws. Jokic had 16 points, 7 rebounds, shot 50%, 2 for 3 from 3. Murray had 32 points, 8 assists, shot 12 for 20. Didn't hit a 3, 0 for 3, and had 8 for 8 free throws. LA won that one, went up 3-1, which, was the Nuggets. Obviously, the Nuggets didn't want to be down 3-1. They would have rather had it be 2-2. But this is the third time they've been in a 3-1 deficit. They were in a 3-1 deficit against the Jazz. They won. They were in a 3-1 deficit against the Clippers. They won. But they could not pull through against the Lakers. They lose Game 5 by 10, 117-107. LeBron, it was really it was his day. His day for sure. He wanted to take over. The Lakers shot 54.5% to the Nuggets 42. 37.5% from 3 to the Nuggets 26. Out rebounded him, out assisted him, steals, blocks, turnovers, everything better. AD had 27 points, another 5 rebound game. He shot 50% throughout, 9 for 9 from free throw. LeBron had 38 points, 16 rebounds, 10 assists. Extremely good game for him, extremely good. 15 for 25, very efficient. 1 for 4 and 7 for 8 free throws. 1 for 4 from 3. Really good game. Really good game from LeBron. Really bad game from Nuggets. Jokic 20 points, 7 rebounds, and Jamal 19 points, 8 assists. I believe Jeremy Grant had a pretty good game in this one and was talking to LeBron a little bit. Jeremy Grant is a free agent. He has a player option and he is suspected to opt out of it. He did have 20 points, 9 rebounds in this one. Shot very well. He is expected to opt out and not come back to the Nuggets. The Nuggets could always offer a contract to him, but he could demand anywhere from 14 to 16 million a year for multiple years. So Jeremy Grant could be getting a big bag in the offseason. And I think he deserves it. I think he deserves that much. He's a solid 2010 guy. He can shoot. He's a good defender. He's athletic. He's just a really good power forward. A really good guy you want on your team. I think 14, 16 million is not a bad contract for him. It's going to be a tough loss for the Nuggets if they don't re-sign him. But I don't even know if they can for that much. Let's wrap up Celtics Heat. We have 3 games to wrap up. We left off the Heat. We're up by 2-1 going into Game 4. And in Game 4, the Heat won by 3, extending their lead to 3-1. Jason Tatum, the Celtics shot better across the line than the Heat. They out-rebounded them. They had more assists. They had 10 more turnovers, which probably was their downfall at the end of the day. Tatum played okay. Didn't shoot well from 3. He had 28 points, 9 rebounds, shot 10 for 22 from the field, and 4 for 11 from 3. Jaylen Brown had 21 points, 9 rebounds. He shot 8 for 14 and 4 for 7 from 3. Jimmy Butler had 24 points, 9 rebounds, shot 8 for 20, 8 for 9 from 3 for free throw. And Tyler Hero, it was his day in this one. This one was a Tyler Hero game. Had 37 points, 6 rebounds. He shot 14 for 21, crazy efficient. 50% from the 3-point line, 5 for 10. Crazy. Great game from him. Celtics should have won that game throughout, but a 37-point performance from Tyler Hero closed it out for him. Game 5, the Celtics grabbed that one by 13. So they cut down the lead to 3-2. It was a bad performance across the board. The Heat shot well from the field. From 3-point line, they shot 19%, 7 for 36. So that's why they lost this one. Tatum had 31 points, 10 rebounds, 8 for 22 field goals, 3 for 10 threes. He did shoot 12 for 14 from the free throw line, though, so that's where most of his points came from. Jaylen Brown had 28 points, 8 rebounds, 12 for 23 shooting, 4 for 10 from the three. And the Heat struggled. They just struggled across the board. Dragic, 23 points, 4 assists, 8 for 17, 1 for 7 from 3. And then Duncan Robinson had 20 points, 7 for 15, and 3 for 11 from three-pointer. So bad three-point shooting game from them. Duncan Robinson is probably their best shooter, him or Tyler Hero, and he shot 3 for 11. Dragic shot 1 for 6. Or 1 for 7. It was just a bad game all around. 3-point wise, Jimmy Butler was 0 for 2. Jay Crowder was 0 for 6. Tyler Hero was 2 for 5. Iguodala was 0 for 3. Bad shooting game across the board for all the Heat players from 3. But in the next game, they shot way better than the Celtics, and they won by 12. The Heat win Game 6. Move on to the NBA Finals. I'll talk a little bit more about my thoughts there. As a Celtics fan, in a minute, let's go through. Tatum, 24 points, 11 assists. Shot 9 for 26. 3 for 10 from 3. And then Jaylen Brown, 26 points, 8 rebounds. Shot 10 for 17. 3 for 7 from 3. They shot 15 for 46 overall. 32%. And the Heat did not shoot 19%. They shot 48% from 3. 13 for 27. They picked their shots. They picked open shots and they made them. I watched a majority of the game and they just didn't miss. Bam had 32 points, 14 rebounds. Crazy game from him. I love when Bam scores more than 20 points because I think he has potential to be, a 27, 28 point per game scorer, 28 and 10 every game. And I just think he needs to take more shots. He needs to be more aggressive like he was in this game. He shot 11 for 15, and he shot 10 for 11 free throws. So if he's much more aggressive and can get to the free throw line much better and much more in this finals, I think that he have a good shot. Jimmy Butler had 22 points and 8 assists, 8 for 19 from the field. He's going to have to score more than he did throughout these playoffs. It's LeBron James. You always want to get your shooters open. You always want to get those guys open for 3. But I think Jimmy Butler's going to have to score more in this series than he has in any of the others. Iguodala had a very efficient, good game. He had 15 points, shot 5 for 5 from the field, and 4 for 4 from the 3-point line. This is also Andre's 6th straight finals. He played with the Warriors for a long time, who went to the finals a lot. And this also dates back to... I think it's just the Warriors. But this is Andre's 6th straight finals. This is LeBron's 10th finals. 9th in the last 10 years. Of course, aside from last year when they didn't make the playoffs. It's also the first time, speaking of that both teams in the NBA Finals didn't make the playoffs the year before. The Heat and the Lakers were both 10 seeds at the end of the season, and now they're both in the NBA Finals. For the NBA Finals, I think the Heat match up way better to the Lakers than the Celtics did. I think Bam and AD are very similar in skill set, and I think LeBron and Jimmy Butler match up better than anybody with LeBron. However good you can match up with LeBron. I think, LeBron's best matchup would be Giannis or Kawhi. But Jimmy Butler's going to have to do all defensive second team. Can't remember, but Most likely, Jimmy Butler is going to have to guard LeBron, and most likely, Bam Adebayo is going to have to guard AD. And if I'm Eric Spoelstra, I'm not taking either of those two out of the game if either of those two are still on the court. If LeBron's still on the court, Jimmy's on the court. If AD's on the court, Bam's on the court. I'm not putting Kelly Olynyk in the game when AD's in the game. I'm not putting, anybody else. I know the Celtics went small ball and the Heat went small ball against them, running basically Jay Crowder at the center. That ain't going to work, especially if AD's on the court. And even if AD's not on the court, it's going to be JaVale McGee or Dwight Howard. So I don't think Heat small ball is going to work. I don't know if Kelly Olynyk can handle Dwight or JaVale, maybe. But I know he can't handle AD. So if AD's on the court, Bam's got to be on the court. If LeBron's on the court, Jimmy Butler's got to be on the court. Or Iggy. I trust Iggy to guard LeBron. That's why he won Finals MVP. But I'd rather have Jimmy Butler if he could. And yeah, I just think overall the Heat match up way better. I think the Heat have better role players surrounding their stars. Obviously, Jimmy Butler and Bam are they're obviously all-stars. They're all-stars. They're all defensive players. They're all, they're top guys. They're stars. But they're the Walmart version of LeBron and AD. But I think their surrounding cast is a little better. I like Rondo. Playoff Rondo's cool, but he's old. J.R. Smith, Deion Waiters, they're old. I guess Deion Waiters ain't that old, I don't think, but J.R. Smith's old, even if they get playtime. JaVale McGee, Dwight Howard's old. Danny Green hasn't been producing. It's basically been just LeBron and AD, and if you can slow down one of them and still have good games from all your other guys, you're going to win. The one game that the Nuggets won, I don't think AD had the greatest game. I guess he had 27 and 2, and LeBron had 30, 11, and 10. So, hey, you can even beat them if they have good games. I just also don't think the Celtics would have matched up very well. It would have been something like Daniel Tice. It would have been a rotation of Tice, Cantor, and Robert Williams guarding AD. I don't think any of them can guard AD. I think Robert Williams might have the better shot of guarding him. But then, how do you produce with Robert Williams on offense being guarded by AD? And then someone like probably Marcus Smart would guard LeBron, and LeBron would probably make him foul out in the first half. And then Tatum would probably have to guard him, or Jaylen Brown, maybe Gordon Hayward. They just don't have the greatest defenders. I think offensively the Celtics are better. But defensively, I think they'd get exposed. And I think the Heat are way better defensively. And if they can shoot how they did in this last game, 56% from the field and 48% from the three, then they could have a really good shot at beating the Lakers. You never know, though. It's LeBron, it's Anthony Davis. It's the two best of their positions. So, it's going to be a good series, for sure. It's going to be a good series. Starts tomorrow on my birthday. So, yeah, we're going to have to see how that goes. Alright, on to some NFL. We talked a little bit about that. My prediction, probably Lakers 6 or 7. I hope the Heat win. That'd be cool. But I'm going to go Lakers in 6, maybe 7. Although I do think if they get to a Game 7, I think the Heat can win a Game 7. Either way, on to football. Hell yeah, football. Monday night game was an interesting one to put on Monday night. They've been putting some weird games on Monday and Thursdays. I'm just saying. But Dolphins-Jaguars is what we're going to kick it off with. Dolphins actually killed them. 31-13. Wow, weird. I know, right? Fitzpatrick played a really good game. But the Dolphins, now 1-2. They had one fumble recovery from Kyle Van Noy. They had an interception off of Minshew. It was Xavier Howard. And they sacked Minshew 4 times. Gregor Hill got one. Van Noy, Van Ginkel, Sealer got a half, and Ogba got half of the other one. Fitzpatrick played very well. 18 for 20 completions. Very efficient. 160 yards, 2 touchdowns. Pretty good game. And then he also carried the ball 7 times for 38 yards and a touchdown. Myles Gaskin had 22 carries and 66 yards. Jordan Howard had 3 carries, 1 yard, and 1 touchdown. Okay, that's all they asked him to do. That's all they asked him to do. They get on the 1 yard line, they put Jordan Howard in for 3 plays, and they run him the ball. And he scores a touchdown. That's all they need him to do. Devontae Parker had 5 catches for 69 yards. Mike Gesicki had 1 catch, 15 yards, and a touchdown. And then Preston Williams had 2 catches, 7 yards, and a touchdown. The Jags fall to 1-2. They only had the single sack from Josh Allen in this game. Minshew, who threw a lot more than Fitzpatrick did, was 30 for 42, 275 yards, and 1 interception. I do believe it was either him or Fitzpatrick that started the game 11 for 11, killing. But in the end, the Dolphins, Fitzpatrick played better. But James Robinson, 11 carries, 46 yards, 2 touchdowns. He also caught the ball 6 times for 83 yards. And Keelan Cole had 4 catches, 43 yards. That's all we had from them. Not a good game from the Jaguars, and pretty good game from the Dolphins. The Sunday games, Sunday morning, we had Bears-Falcons. Excuse me. Another tough joke loss from the Falcons, man. That's crazy. They were up 26-10 going into the 4th quarter when the Bears decided to start Nick Foles. And Nick Foles came out and won. The Bears won 30-26. Scored 20 unanswered in the 4th. And the Falcons, man, that's 2 this season. That's 3 counting back to the Super Bowl. What are you guys doing, Falcons fans? What's going on? You guys need to do something, man. The Bears somehow go to 3-0. They had 1 interception off of Matt Ryan. It was Tashawn Gibson. And they sacked him twice. Khalil Mack had half a sack, and Akeem Hicks had 1.5 sacks. Trubisky played okay. I think if they would have kept Trubisky in, they probably would have lost the game. So, Falcons fans, I'm sorry they put Nick Foles in. But Trubisky was 13 for 22, 128 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. And then when Nick Foles came in the 4th, it was a late 3rd quarter. He came in. He was 16 for 29, 188 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a pick. So 3 touchdowns for Nick Foles in about a quarter and a bit. Pretty dang good. And the Bears actually are going with Nick Foles as the starter. Yeah, they benched Trubisky after this one, and Nick Foles is going to start next week. David Montgomery had 14 carries, 45 yards. Allen Robinson had 10 catches, 123 yards, and a touchdown. Jimmy Graham had 6 catches, 60 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And then Anthony Miller had 2 catches, 41 yards, and a touchdown. Pretty good game from the Bears, at least in the 4th quarter, and for Nick Foles. The Falcons, on the other hand, 0-3. 0-3. They lose to the Seahawks, and then they choke 2 defeats. 1 to the Cowboys, 1 to the Bears. I don't know which was worse, but it's the Bears, so. They did have 2 interceptions, 1 off Trubisky, 1 off Foles, from Denard and Ray Wilson. They also sacked, I don't know who they sacked, I'm going to guess Trubisky, twice. Grady Jarrett and Harris. Julio Jones continues to not play. He still is dealing with a hamstring issue, I believe. But he did not play. So. Matt Ryan. MVP of the league a few years ago. 19 for 38. 238 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. Not a terrible game. Just not a great game. Todd Gurley had 14 carries. 80 yards. And a touchdown. And then Benny Hill had 9 carries, 58 yards, and a touchdown. Calvin Ridley continues to pour on the receiving numbers. 5 catches, 110 yards. No scores. But Matt Ryan's lone touchdown went to Hayden Hurst for 1 catch, 1 yard, 1 touchdown. You'd love to see it. Oh, excuse me. Gotta sneeze. Next game, Bills-Rams. Bills had this one secured and almost gave it up. I believe they gave up 21 unanswered points, 28 unanswered points. But they win 35-32. The Bills improve to 3-0. Josh Allen, another 5-touchdown game. They did have 1 fumble recovery from Tre'Davious White, 1 interception, Wallace, and 2 sacks. Matt Milano and AJ Espinosa. Josh Allen, like I said, 5-touchdown game, 24 for 33, 311 yards, 4 passing touchdowns, threw an interception. And he also had 4 carries, 8 yards, a touchdown. So 5 total touchdowns for him. The 1 turnover, but that's all right. 13 carries for Singletary for 71 yards. Diggs had 4 catches, 49 yards, and a touchdown. Cole Beasley had 6 catches, 100 yards, and Tyler Kroft had 4 catches, 24 yards, and 2 touchdowns. The Rams fall to 2-1. They were looking to make the comeback on this one. Couldn't. They had 1 fumble recovery, and that was Aaron Donald. 1 interception from John Johnson, and 4 sacks. 1 from Leonard Floyd, and 1 from Fox, and 2 from Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald making his case for Defensive Player of the Year again. Obviously not last year. And Gilmore got kind of cut up by the Seahawks last week, so. Or this week. Jared Goff, 23 for 32, 321 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. He also had 2 carries, 4 yards, and a touchdown. 2 carries, 4 touchdowns. Darrell Henderson, 20 carries, 114 yards, 1 touchdown. Cooper Kupp had 9 catches, 107 yards, and a touchdown. And then Robert Woods had 5 catches, 74 yards, and a touchdown. I mean, pretty good game played by the Rams. Just couldn't bring back after falling into a big deficit. Couldn't bring it back, and they lose by 3. We have Washington football team and the Browns. The Browns won by 14, 20-34. Washington falls to 1-2. They did have 2 sacks from Allen and Sweat. Haskins played okay besides his 3 interceptions. He was 21 for 37, 224 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 picks. Gibson had 9 carries, 49 yards, and a touchdown. McLaurin had 4 catches, 83 yards. And then, Inman had 3 catches, 38 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Both of Haskins' touchdowns went to Inman. The Browns have a winning record. They're 2-1. This is the first winning record in however many years. I can't remember. but a while, since 2016, when they were 2-1 or something like that. But it's their first winning record in a long time, and that includes going 1-0, 2-1, any of that. For 2-1, they picked off Haskins 3 times, Joseph, Smith, and Goodson. They had 1 fumble recovery, or no, 2 fumble recoveries from Myles Garrett and Thomas, and then 3 sacks from Sheldon Richardson, and Myles Garrett had 2 sacks. Baker Mayfield played pretty well. Not a lot of yards, but pretty good efficiency and good touchdowns. 16 for 23, 156 yards, 2 touchdowns from Mayfield. Nick Chubb carried it on the ground 19 times, 108 yards and 2 touchdowns. Kareem Hunt has 16 carries for 46 yards, as well as 2 receptions for 18 yards and a touchdown. OBJ had 4 catches, 59 yards, and Landry had 4 catches, 36 yards. Good win for the Browns to finally have a winning record. We'll see how long they can go. I like the Browns. On paper, they're a very good team. Odell Beckham Jr., Jarvis Landry, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, Baker Mayfield, Myles Garrett. So many good players. They just have struggled to put together some wins. But right now they're 2-1, and we'll see what they can do moving forward. Now we'll move forward and go on to the Titans and the Vikings, where Steven Gostkowski hits yet another game-winning field goal. I believe that is his 3rd game-winning field goal of the year out of 3 games. He did much better as well. He went 6 for 6 on field goals. They didn't score much, but they kicked a lot of field goals. They had 1 fumble recovery from Rashaan Evans, 2 interceptions from Joseph and Hooker, and 2 sacks from Simmons and Christian Bolton, the rookie. Tannehill, he played all right. 23 for 37, 321 yards and a pick. You know, played like he did in the playoffs, where Henry also played like he did in the playoffs. 26 carries, 119 yards, 2 touchdowns. It's a good game from him. It was a good running back duel between these 2 running backs. Khalif Raymond had 3 catches, 118 yards. Corey Davis had 5 catches, 69 yards. And Jonnu Smith had 5 catches, 61 yards. The Titans do go to 3-0. And the Vikings fall to 0-3. 0-3 for the Vikings. Tough start to the season after, making the playoffs and doing well last year. They did have 1 interception. It was Harrison Smith. And 1 sack from Yannick Ngakoue. Cousins played all right. 16 for 27, 251 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. And Dalvin Cook played really good. 22 carries, 181 yards, and a touchdown. It's the most yards on the ground in the season so far. Justin Jefferson also played crazy. 7 catches, 175 yards, and a touchdown for the rookie. And then Adam Thielen, 3 catches, 29 yards, and a touchdown. Yeah, Vikings go to 0-3 after the loss by 1. Tough start to the season for the Vikings. We'll see if they can do something to turn it around. But it's looking bleak. Although, Justin Jefferson had a crazy good game, and Dalvin Cook had a crazy good game. So they do have very bright spots. All right, the Raiders and my Patriots. Let's go. Patriots won by 16. I like the Raiders. I was hoping for a little closer of a game, but I don't mind closing it out a little early. The Raiders fall to 2-1. They did have an interception on Cam from Jonathan Abram, and Max Crosby sacked Cam twice. So Derek Carr played pretty good. 24 for 32, 261 yards, and 2 touchdowns. The Patriots kind of shut down Jacobs. He didn't score, but he did have 16 carries for 71 yards, so it's not a terrible game. No, not terrible, but didn't score. Hunter Renfrow caught a touchdown. He also caught 6 passes for 84 yards, and then Morrow caught the other touchdown. He also had 2 catches for 25 yards. Good game from the Raiders. Just couldn't put it in the end zone, and struggled with turnovers, fumbles mainly. There was one fumble from Jacobs that looked like he recovered it himself, but they called it Patriots ball. So, and just putting the ball on the ground a lot for the Raiders. The Patriots had 3 fumble recoveries. Lawrence Guy, Dietrich Wise, who took his fumble recovery to the end zone for a touchdown, and J.C. Jackson had a fumble recovery. The Patriots go to 2-1. They also sacked Carr twice. Winovich got one, and then Dietrich Wise and Calhoun had half each. Cam Newton played pretty well. Played decently well. 17 for 28, 162 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 9 carries for 27 yards. It was the ground game, though, that really carried the Patriots through this one, which I love to see. I love to see our ground game get, some traction, even without James White, who is still, grieving, which is fine. But even without James White, we still are able to put the ball on the ground and take some pressure off Cam Newton to throw the ball. Michelle had 9 carries, 117 yards, and Burkhead had 6 carries, 49 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground. He also caught the ball 7 times for 49 yards and a touchdown through the air. So, really good game from Burkhead, career game, and really good from Michelle as well. I love seeing the ground game get some burn, and I love seeing them break off big chunk plays. I saw Michelle had a couple 20-yard runs, which is awesome, always great. To take some pressure off of. It was great when they took pressure off Tom Brady, and now it's great when they take pressure off Cam Newton. N'Keal Harry had 2 catches, 34 yards, and Edelman had 2 catches for 23 yards. The 49ers Giants. Giants fans, I'm sorry. Man, it's going to be a long season. It's going to be a long season. I don't know if you're going to win a game. I really don't. At least last year, Saquon could win you 2 or 3. But now it's just bad. Jimmy Garoppolo didn't play for the Niners. Raheem Mostert didn't play for the Niners. Excuse me. Obviously, Bosa didn't play. Thomas didn't play. Sherman still didn't play, and a bunch of other guys. But they dismantled the Giants, 36-9. 36-9, and it was the ground game, really. The 49ers improved to 2-0. They did have 2 fumble recoveries from Deion Jordan and Moore. They had an interception, Fred Warner, and 2 sacks from Hyder and Deion Jordan. Nick Mullins, who took the reins for the Niners, was 25 for 36, 343 yards and a touchdown. Can't complain about that. Pretty good numbers, no turnovers. Pretty good day for Nick Mullins. But it was the ground game, like I said. Jerick McKinnon had 14 carries, 38 yards, a touchdown. Brandon Ayuk had 3 carries, 31 yards, a touchdown. And Wilson had 12 carries and a touchdown. He also had 3 catches, 54 yards, and a touchdown. Kendrick Bourne had 4 catches for 63 yards, and Ayuk had 5 catches for 70 yards. So a dismantled 49ers team comes in and destroys the Saquon-less Giants. And like I said, I don't know if you guys are going to win a game. Man, Daniel Jones just isn't doing it. Saquon Barkley's out for the season. And the guy you signed, Devontae Freeman, had 10 yards on the ground on 5 carries. He did have 2 sacks. Leonard Williams, Blake Martinez. Jones was 17 for 32, 179 yards, and an interception. 5 carries, 49 yards. Freeman, 5 carries, 10 yards. Slayton, 3 catches, 53 yards. Gold Tate, 5 catches, 36 yards. And Evan Ingram, 3 catches, 22 yards. Man, it's going to be a long season for the Giants. If there's any Giants fans listening, I'm sorry. I feel bad. I kind of thought this is how the Patriots were going to be, but sorry, guys. Next game, Bengals-Eagles. Of course, it would be the freaking Bengals and the Eagles, who end in a tie. Yes, a tie. 23-23 in overtime. Eagles suck. Eagles fans, I'm sorry for you guys too. The Bengals go to 0-2-1. They had 2 interceptions from Sims and Wilson, and they had 3 sacks from Hubbard, and Lawson had 2. Joe Burrow, 31 for 44, 312 yards and 2 touchdowns. Joe Mixon, 17 carries, 49 yards. Tyler Boyd, 10 catches, 125 yards. Giovanni Bernard, which is cool. I don't know if he still plays running back just for receiving, or if he's playing receiver. But he had 3 catches for 55 yards. And T. Higgins, the rookie, had 5 catches, 40 yards, 2 touchdowns. So that's cool for him. The little rookie-to-rookie connection. The Eagles fall to 0-2-1. They didn't have any fumble recoveries or interceptions, but they did have 8 sacks. They sacked Joe Burrow 8 times. Poor Burrow. Mills had 1.5. Graham had 2. Barnett had 2. Cox had 1. Jackson had 0.5. And Sweat had 1. They sacked him 8 times. Poor Joe Burrow. He needs a better line. He needs a better line, man. And he still played extremely well. Carson Wentz, mediocre. 29 for 47. First of all, not a good completion percentage. 225 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Touchdown-interception ratio, not good. He did have 9 carries, 65 yards, and a touchdown, though. Miles Sanders had 18 carries for 95 yards. Greg Ward had 8 catches, 72 yards, and wins his touchdown. And then Ertz had 7 catches for 70 yards. In the tie. Why is there ties? Why are there ties in football? There's not ties in basketball. There's not ties in college football. Why is there ties in NFL football? There's not ties in baseball. They go until sunrise to find a winner. I just don't understand why a tie is a way to end a sporting event. It's not. Just play multiple overtimes. It's not that hard. Whatever. They ended a tie, and it's stupid. Texans-Steelers. Steelers squeak away with another one. Beating the Texans by 7. The Texans are 0-3. Tough start to the season for the Texans. They had 2 sacks from Ominahu and Watkins. Deshaun Watson, 19 for 27. 264 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. David Johnson had 13 carries, 23 yards, and a touchdown. Randall Cobb had 4 catches, 95 yards, and a touchdown. And Will Fuller had 4 catches, 54 yards, and a touchdown. The Steelers, who moved to 3-0, good to see. One of my buddies is a really good Steelers fan. I have two friends that are actually Steelers fans. So seeing them go 3-0 is pretty cool. Mike Hilton had another interception this week. And they sacked Watson 5 times with this pressure. T.J. Watt had one. Stephon Tuitt. Devin Bush had a half. Bud Dupree had 1.5. And then Vince Williams had one. Big Ben played well. 23 for 36. 237 yards and 2 touchdowns. It's good to see him, back and slinging the ball a little bit to some good young receivers, for sure. James Conner, 18 carries, 109 yards, and a touchdown. And then McFarland, who I was not introduced to, I guess, until this week. I didn't know who he was. 6 carries, 42 yards for him. Eric Ebron had 5 catches, 52 yards, and a touchdown. That was a good pickup from the Steelers. And Juju Smith-Schuster had 4 catches, 43 yards, and a touchdown. Good game for the Steelers. Starting off the season really well, 3-0. Making a playoff run. Maybe find themselves in the Super Bowl. They'd have to beat some pretty tough competition, but they're a very good team. Their defense is very good. And I think Ben could do it. I think Ben might be able to do it. Another team that might go 0-16 unless they play the Giants. The Jets. Lose to the Colts 36-7. Darnold played absolutely awful. The only good thing about his day was his 1 touchdown, but he was 17 for 29, 168 yards, a touchdown, and 3 interceptions. Frank Gore, 15 carries, 57 yards, and Berrios had the 1 touchdown, 4 catches, 24 yards, and a touchdown. The Colts are 2-1. They had 3 interceptions. Xavier Rhodes had 2, one of which went for a touchdown. And TJ Carey had the other, which also went for a touchdown. They had 2 pick sixes and 3 picks. 2 sacks, one from Houston, 1 from Moore. And Phillip Rivers played well, 17 for 21, 217 yards and a touchdown. He also becomes the 6th player in NFL history to throw for 400 touchdowns, which is cool. Jonathan Taylor had 13 carries, 59 yards, and a touchdown. Hilton had 3 catches for 52 yards, and Mo Alley Cox had 3 catches, 50 yards, and a touchdown. So yeah, the Jets are just... Sorry, Jets fans. Because it's not going to be a good season unless you play the Giants. Then you might have a chance at winning a game. That'd probably be on Monday Night Football. To be honest. Jets-Giants. Next game, Panthers-Chargers. Panthers win by 5, 21-16. And they go to 1-2. They had 3 fumble recoveries from Whitehead, Shaq Thompson, and Obata. They had 1 interception from Jackson and 2 sacks, Haynes and Ryan Burns. Bridgewater was 22 for 28, 235 yards, a touchdown. Mike Davis had 13 carries, 46 yards, 8 catches for 45 yards, and a touchdown. And then DJ Moore had 2 catches, 65 yards, and Robbie Anderson had 5 catches, 55 yards. Chargers fall to 1-2. They did sack Bridgewater twice. Bosa and Jenkins each got 1. Herbert was 35 for 49, 330 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Not a bad game. I think if they start Tyrod Taylor, they're stupid. Austin Eckler had 12 carries, 59 yards, a touchdown, 11 catches, 84 yards. And then Keenan Allen, 13 catches, 132 yards, and a touchdown. Hunter Henry, 5 catches, 50 yards. I think if they start Tyrod Taylor, they're dumb. I think Herbert is doing fine. He's 0-2, but he played the Chiefs, almost beat them. Lost by a game-winning field goal. And then they almost beat the Panthers just then, who he also played a really good game. 300 yards, a touchdown, 1 pick. No big deal. Bucks Broncos. Bucks win 28-10. The Bucks improved to 2-1. They had 2 interceptions off Driscoll, or one off Driscoll, one off Brett Ripien, from Edwards and Levante David, and they also sacked. I don't know how many times, but they got 6 sacks. Shaq Barrett had 2. Winfield, Whitehead, Vita Vea, and Jason Pierre-Paul all had 1. Tom Brady had 25 for 38, 297 yards, 3 touchdowns. Really good game for him. Ronald Jones had 13 carries, 53 yards, and Fournette had 7 carries, 15 yards. Miller had 3 catches, 83 yards. Godwin had 5 catches, 64 yards, and a touchdown. And Mike Evans, I believe, I think it was the 3rd person to ever do this. God, excuse me. But he had 2 catches, 2 yards, 2 touchdowns. Super efficient, I guess. I guess if that's all you need Mike Evans for, it works. 2 catches, 2 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's just the leveled up version of the 1-1-1. The Broncos fall to 0-3. They did have 2 sacks. They were both by Shelby Harris. Jeff Driscoll, 17 for 30, 176 yards, a touchdown, a pick. Not sure when Ripien came in, but he was 8 for 9, 53 yards and a pick. Melvin Gordon had 8 carries for 26 yards. Judy had 5 catches, 55 yards. Fant had 5 catches, 46 yards. And Tim Patrick had 4 catches, 43 yards, and a touchdown. Lions-Cardinals. The Lions win on a last-second field goal. They win by 3, 26-23. They improved to 1-2. That snaps an 11-game losing streak. They had 3 interceptions off Kyler Murray from Jeff Okudah, Deron Harmon, and Jamie Collins. And Akwara had 1 sack. Matt Stafford played well, 22 for 31, 270 yards, and 2 touchdowns. A lot of people were calling him an MVP this season, at least predicting him to be an MVP this season. Obviously, their start didn't say that, but I mean, this game wasn't bad. I don't think so, though. 22 carries, 75 yards for Adrian Peterson. Galladay had 6 catches, 57 yards, a touchdown, and Marvin Jones had 3 catches, 51 yards, a touchdown. The Cardinals fall to 2-1 after this shocking loss. They had 4 sacks. Phillips, Kennard, Reddick, and Peters. Murray played okay. 23 for 35, 270 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 5 carries, 29 yards, and a touchdown. So 3 touchdowns, 3 turnovers. Kenyon Drake, 18 carries, 73 yards. Hopkins, 10 catches, 137 yards. And Andy Isabella, 4 catches, 47 yards, 2 touchdowns. A good one here. Cowboys-Seahawks. Cowboys lose by 7, 31-38. The Cowboys fall to 1-2. They did sack Wilson 4 times. Woods got him once, and Aldon Smith got him 3 times. Aldon Smith, welcome back to the league. 3 sacks. Prescott was 37 for 57, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. I didn't write down his yardage. I believe it was in the 350s. But Ezekiel Elliott had 14 carries for 34 yards and a touchdown. Michael Gallup had 6 catches, 138 yards, and a touchdown. Sorry, I'm trying to find how many yards he had. He had 472 yards. So not bad. Not bad. A bad yardage from Dak. 472 yards. Cedric Wilson had 5 catches, 107 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And then Amari Cooper had 9 catches, 86 yards. The Seahawks had, they go to 3-0. They had 1 fumble recovery from Benson Mayowa. 2 interceptions, 1 from Shaq Griffin and 1 from Neal. at the end of the game. And they had 2 sacks from Robinson and Jaron Reed. Dak kind of threw up a weird one. A weird Hail Mary throw after escaping a sack. He didn't need to. There was 15-some seconds left. He didn't need to throw the ball to the end zone, but he did. So, whatever. Russell Wilson, another MVP game. 27 for 40, 315 yards, 5 touchdowns. Chris Carson, who I believe has a high knee sprain. 14 carries, 64 yards. We'll talk about that for a second. I forget his name. I keep forgetting his name, but fuck that guy. Sorry. Excuse my language. Chris Carson was down, wrapped up by the legs, and some big 300-pounder came and rolled on top of him, tearing his leg in half. I thought for sure it was a torn ACL and Carson was done, but it looks like about 4 to 6 weeks for Carson and a high knee sprain. So, stupid dirty play from the big guy from the Cowboys. He could have just jumped over the pile, but instead he rolled on top of him after the play was over and could have seriously hurt Chris Carson. Luckily, he did hurt him, but not ACL-wise, I don't think. DK Metcalf had 4 catches, 110 yards, and a touchdown. Tyler Lockett had 9 catches, 100 yards, 3 touchdowns. Really good game for him. And Greg Olsen had 5 catches, 61 yards. Seahawks looking great. It's looking like them and the Packers are going to be the front runners for the Super Bowl in that conference. But we'll see. Speaking of Packers-Saints. Packers win by 7. And 37-30. They go 3-0. They did have a fumble recovery from Za'Darius Smith. And 2 sacks. Kingsley Kiki got both sacks. Sacked Breeze twice. Aaron Rodgers, still looking for him to play bad. 21 for 32, 283 yards, 3 touchdowns. Yeah. Aaron Jones, 16 carries, 69 yards, and a touchdown. Alan Lazard had 6 catches, 146 yards, and a touchdown. And Robert Tonyan had 5 catches, 50 yards, and a touchdown. Davante Adams didn't play. Neither did Michael Thomas for the Saints. So two of the league's top receivers out. But the Saints fall to 1-2. They sacked Rodgers once. It was DeMario Davis. Breeze was 29 for 36, 288 yards, 3 touchdowns. Kamara had 6 carries for 58 yards, but he did it through the air. 13 catches, 139 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Latavius Murray had 12 carries for 58 yards. Traquan Smith had 4 catches, 42 yards. And Sanders had 4 catches, 56 yards, and a touchdown. Good game from both quarterbacks. The Packers had a fumble recovery, which, could have probably resulted in the 7-point loss. Chiefs, Ravens. That was the Monday night football game. Chiefs win 34-20. So pretty lopsided game for the battle of the MVPs. The Chiefs had 1 fumble recovery as they go to 3-0. They had 1 fumble recovery, and it was Ben Neiman. They also had 4 sacks. Frank Clark, Ben Neiman, and then Chris Jones had 2 sacks. Patrick Mahomes played really well. 5 total touchdowns. No complaints from him. He's trying to. I think he's trying to improve his MVP status. 31 for 42, 385 yards, 4 touchdowns, 4 carries, 26 yards, and a touchdown. So a very MVP-like game from him. We'll just have to see at the end of the year who had it better, So Sorry, going back real quick. I just got a update. He is Chris Carson's first degree knee sprain. He could be back soon, but they're gonna have to see how it goes. Tristan Hill made that play. Pete Carroll says, quote, "I was really pissed about that." Me too, Pete. Me too. That was a stupid play by that guy, and stupid. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 20 carries, 64 yards. Travis Kelce, 6 catches, 87 yards. Tyreek Hill had 5 catches, 77 yards, and a touchdown. And then Anthony Sherman and Eric Fisher had 1 catch each. Yes, Eric Fisher, the left tackle. And they each scored a touchdown. A little shovel pass to Sherman, and then a little dink pass to the lineman on like the 2-yard line. So yeah, the Chiefs are 3-0. The Ravens followed to 2-1. Devin Duvernay had a kick return for a touchdown as one of their touchdowns. Lamar Jackson, he didn't play the greatest. He was 15 for 28, 97 passing yards, and a touchdown. 9 carries, 83 yards. He also had more rushing yards than passing yards. Edwards had 4 carries, 39 yards. J.K. Dobbins had 4 catches, 38 yards. Boyle had 1 catch, 5 yards, and a touchdown. And then Andrews had 3 catches for 22 yards. Those were the leading receivers. 38 yards and 22 yards. Can the Chiefs repeat? I don't know. Looking like it. They're really good. Patrick Mahomes is playing out of his mind. He's got the weapons still. And they're got an even better running back, maybe. On to some news and football. Yeah. Let's go to NBA news. Not football, but NCAA football. There we go. NBA news. The Bulls hired Billy Donovan as their head coach. Obviously, was parted ways with the Thunder this year. He went 243 and 157 with the Thunder as a record, and he made it to the second round last year after having a 0.2% chance to make the playoffs. So, pretty good run for him with OKC. He's going to be the Bulls head coach now, which is really cool for Bulls fans, I think. I mean, he's probably better than Jim Boylan. And then our only other, I'll get one more in there, but Clippers and Doc Rivers are parting ways. Yeah. He was 356 and 208 as the Clippers head coach. He was a one-time champion with Boston, and he won Coach of the Year in 1999-2000. So yeah, Clippers need a coach. Doc Rivers is there as a free agent for other teams, and we'll have to see what happens with him. The Giants signed Devontae Freeman for the season after they lost Barkley. We obviously see how that went. But he had 656 yards and 2 touchdowns in 2019. And he had 5 carries for 10 yards. So we know how that went. All right. The Broncos signed Blake Bortles for the rest of the season as they lost Drew Lock. They obviously didn't play him. They played Driscoll and Ripien, who both had bad games. So maybe we'll see Bortles play. Maybe we'll see Bortles play next week. And then a little sad ending to NFL news. Bears legend Gale Sayers has passed away. He was 77. Rest in peace to the legend, Hall of Famer, amazing player. Obviously, I never got to watch him, but I watch highlights, and I know he was one of the best, man. So rest in peace to him, and condolences to his family. We have one little piece of NCAA news before taking out the top 25. And that was the Pac-12 decided to start their season on November 6th. I'm not sure what that means for like playoffs and even bowl games. I don't know how they're going to do it. Obviously, with all these other teams already have been playing 2 or 3 games, and now they're not going to start their season for another month. I don't really know what their plan is. I don't think starting that late is even a good idea. You know, because they're not going to have a shot to. There's no way that the NCAA is going to let any Pac-12 team in the playoffs, even if they go 10-0, or however many games they're going to play. You got teams that have played more games than them and are probably going to be undefeated, like Alabama, Oklahoma. Well, I guess Oklahoma just lost. Upset alert. But Alabama, Clemson, all those teams. So it's gonna be interesting how they do that and how they even do bowl games, because that's not fair. I don't think you can rank a Pac-12 team in the top 25 because of their starting so late. Stupid. But I'm running a little overtime here, which is fine. But we're gonna talk about college football this weekend. Alabama played their first game. They won. They beat Missouri 38-19. Najee Harris had 17 carries, 98 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Oklahoma lost to Kansas State. They gave up a huge lead. They lost by 3. Spencer Rattler, 30 for 41, 387 yards, 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. So Oklahoma, number 3 seed, loses to the unranked. Number 4, Georgia wins 37-10 against Arkansas. Number 5, Florida wins 51-35 against Ole Miss. Kyle Trask, 30 for 42, 416 yards, 6 touchdowns for Florida. Number 6, LSU loses to Mississippi State by 10, 34-44. Costello for Mississippi threw 36 for 60, 623 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Notre Dame and Wake Forest was postponed. Notre Dame had a few players test positive for COVID-19, so they postponed that game. The tied for 8th ranked Texas beat Texas Tech 63-56. Ellinger was 27 for 40, 262 yards, 5 touchdowns. And then the other 8 ranked team, Auburn, beat 23 ranked Kentucky 29-13. Number 10, Texas A&M beat Vanderbilt 17-12. Number 12, Miami beat Florida State 52-10. Miami had 3 interceptions and 4 rushing touchdowns. Number 13, UCF beat East Carolina 51-28. As the quarterback for UCF threw Gabriel 32 for 47, 408 yards, 4 touchdowns. Number 14, Cincinnati beat number 22, Army 24-10. Number 15, Oklahoma State wins 27-13 against West Virginia. Number 16, Tennessee beats South Carolina 31-27. Number 18, BYU beats Troy 48-7. Number 19, Louisiana squeaks by Georgia Southern 20-18. Number 20, Virginia Tech wins 45-24 against NC State. And then number 21, Pittsburgh wins 23-20 against number 24, Louisville. Pretty good games in college football. Interesting how they're going to do bowl games at all this year and how they're going to do the playoff. We'll have to take that as it comes. Obviously, with a couple conferences not even playing yet, it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. That's all I got for today, though. An hour and 10 minutes. Pretty good. Decent discussion. But yeah. That's going to have to wrap it up for episode 9 of the podcast. And I will see. Remember, make sure to like and subscribe to the YouTube, channel. It always helps me grow as a creator. I want to do this for a long time. I want to do this for, a long, long time. So hopefully we can get somewhere, get off the ground, and keep on track. Thanks for everybody for the support as always. And I'll see you guys on next Wednesday. Take it easy.